See, Ramayana and Mahabharata are clearly depicting the story of the human mind, the behavior of human society. Everything is mentioned there. And it is a part of our history, part of our culture. In both cases you will find Ramayana is around Sri Rama and Mahabharata is around Pandavas and Kauravas. Now the story of Kauravas, you know, Pandavas, what did they do? They lived for 13 years in exile. And Rama lived for 14 years in exile. That is why we are reading the book. Now this is a kind of a privation or an austerity or a denial which they underwent. And by undergoing this denial, what happened? Their minds got strengthened. Their intelligence became clearer. With a much lesser army, they were able to face a much huger army. In spite of it, they succeeded in the war. They ruled the kingdom for 36 years. After that, they left everything and walked into the Himalayas, dropping their bodies. How did Sri Rama shed his body? In the Sarayu river. How did Krishna leave his body? How did Balarama leave the body? How did Rukmini drop his body? Understand that we are to breathe all these inspirations. Never devalue your mind. Your mind has got tremendous capacity. And all the capacity is only to think, feel and remember. Then to assimilate all the impacts from the world, from your life. This is the only capacity that we want. So far as the intelligence is concerned, the intelligence has got the potential and the possibility to inquire into any proposition. Its role is to strike at knowledge. And the way is questioning, reasoning, inquiring, investigation. Newton went on thinking for about 1 year as to why the apple fell. Finally he discovered the law of gravity. So everything comes from the intelligence. It has got the capacity to probe. And with these two factors in us, I think human being is tremendous in everything that he does. Now we must have sufficient attention to understand everything. That attention is very important. Applying your mind, applying your intelligence assiduously, tenaciously, consistently, perseveringly to any proposition whatsoever. See, you must be able to sit in a place if necessary for 1 or 2 hours. In the ashram I sit before the computer and sometimes I sit there for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours at a stretch. Now I have given some alarm and indications. Look at a distance, look at a distance. So I start looking. Because of the attention in the work, that also I forget. See, the eye specialist told me, every half an hour you look at a distance, that's all. So I look at the distance and also rotate my head in this way. But that also I forget sometimes. So we have given an alarm in the computer. Every 25 minutes it appears with a little music. See, that ability to apply your body, apply your senses, apply your intelligence, apply your mind consistently on anything. This is called the real human ability. So he says, Lakshyachyudam ched yadhi chittamishad behirmukham sannipadet tadastadaha pramadadaha pratyudakeli kandugaha sobhana panktau patito yatha tatha. Why am I mentioning this? Our subject should not be forgot. It is developing our inner resources, developing our mind, developing our intelligence, strike newer and newer dimensions, uncover and discover greater and greater potentials and possibilities which are there with our mind and intelligence. Spend time to develop your mind, develop your mind. You know, we speak about, I am writing and speaking about what? So many spiritual powers Krishna speaks about to Uddhava. We call them Ashtasiddhi, etc. Now what is this? We are able to develop a lot of material and energial potentials, we understand, nuclear panels, so many other things. Similarly, by employing your mind, I don't know whether you are following me, by employing your mind in a mind's own manner, you can develop greater and greater powers. Constantly meditate upon the sun. Fix your mind on the sun, on the sun, on the sun, on the sun. You should virtually become the sun, For many hours, many hours, maybe 1,000 hours or 5,000 hours, then the mind will develop a capacity. So many different forms of meditation are enjoined. It is actually a research where the mind alone is handled and the mind is employed. One type of meditation or another meditation. Meditate upon the sun, meditate upon the moon, meditate upon the air, meditate upon water. I don't know whether you will try. We are not able to walk on water because we feel water is fluid and earth is gross solid. If in your mind you are able to dissolve the difference between the two, and the water and the earth, the solid and the liquid forms, both become equal forms of expression of matter, I think you can walk on water. That sense of identity in the mind should be so much. Our mind's powers are infinite. So Krishna speaks about several powers. Mainly 8, then additionally 10, something still more. I am editing that portion which I dictated. The next book I am going to write. So it is just like research into the external world, gross objects of the world. You can research into your mind. The mind has got tremendous powers. See, our Ayurvedic science, I have been asking several people. We have got a materia medica where all the Ayurvedic herbs, their properties are clearly stipulated, described. I asked them, how did they find it out? There is no clear answer coming from anybody. But some people say they must have conducted a research. Others say, when they go and stand near a herb and concentrate upon the herb, they start getting properties of the herb in their mind. This is how they have written, they say. What do you think of mind? Mind is far above matter. Whatever properties are there in matter, in energy, much greater properties are there in the mind. In fact, the entire matter and energy are condensations from the mind substance. So the mind's ability is tremendous. When we are discussing inner resources development, we are only speaking about how to culture and cultivate your mind in order to help and facilitate and excel in your activities and interactions. For that, the mind should be ready to supply a number of thoughts and feelings and emotions. Can you imagine? Sri Rama must have loved Sita so much. They must have had a very good relationship. And suddenly, without telling a word to Sita, he decides to abandon her. So the mind which was loving Sita was able to develop a new emotion by virtue of which he felt impelled to abandon her. So what is this mind? What is its resourcefulness? Anything it can do. Why are you underestimating the mind? So through Viveka Chudamani, our discussion, we are probing into the area of the mind, the field of the mind and the field of the intelligence. Lakshyachyudam chet yadi chittamishad behirmukham sannipadet tadastataha. For a person who is interested in seeking the supreme truth, understanding God, arriving at the supreme self, the ultimate reality, attention is very important. Suppose from your objective or from your ideal, the mind slips. Lakshyachyudam chet yadi chittam ishad. Even for a fraction of a time, if you lose your goal, Behirmukham sannipate tatastataha. You will suddenly become an extrovert. Instead of contemplating upon the self, its majesty, profoundness and magnitude, you will start thinking about the external objects which are perishable. Pramadataha pratyudake kandukaha. You are taking a pot of water, a pitcher of water on your hip, and you are climbing a few steps from the river. And at that time, suppose for any reason your hold is relaxed and the pot falls, it will go on toppling further and further and reach the river. That kind of a downfall may happen, he says. Pramadadaha pratyudakeli kandukaha sobhana panktau patito yatha tatha. Just like a picture falling on the ladder or on the steps, it will simply go down. So be very, very careful, he says. So attention is important. You can examine your own mind now. You have been listening to this inner resources development discussions, Viveka Chudamani. How many people are so attentive as we describe now? One person from Trichur said, I used to conduct every Sunday when I am there, Viveka Chudamani. So one day he was telling me, Swamiji, let me speak the truth. Only when we come here, we open the book of Viveka Chudamani. After you take the class, we are waiting for the next time. When we come, we open the book. This is the level of attention we have. Vishayeshvavishachedaha sankalpayati tadgunan samyak sankalpanat kamaha kamahat pumsah pravartanam. Vishayeshvavishachedaha sankalpayati tadgunan samyak sankalpanat kamaha kamat pumsah pravartanam. See, these words, these phrases should sink into your heart and mind. Vishayeshu Avishad Chetaha Vishayeshu Avishad Chetaha Sankalpayati Tadgunan Samyak Sankalpanat Kamaha Samyak Sankalpanat Kamaha Kamat Pumsaha Kamat Pumsaha Pravartanam Vishayeshvavishachedaha Sankalpayati Tadgunan. You see, this is a book written by Shankaracharya. He was an ascetic. And this is written in the form of a dialogue between a guru and a shishya. And you should understand the subject is self-realization. Harnessing our inner resources to such an extent that we are able to tap the fountain of inner joy. Instead of seeking joy in this world or by our work, we are having a mastery whereby we are able to live, move and work, do our activities joyfully. So joy is not an outcome. On the other hand, it becomes a coexistential factor in you so that you are able to perform everything with joyfulness. Joyful work, joyful activity, joyful pursuit. Vishayeshu avishati chetaha sankalpayati tadgunan. When the mind is allowed to alight on the objects of the world, all the objects are perishable. When you start contemplating upon the desirability of external objects, and you want to possess them in greater and greater measure and variety, Vishayeshu avishacchetaha sankalpayati tadgunan. Then the mind will start dwelling upon the benefits, the qualities and the excellences that you will have. Suppose you already have one building, let me have a couple of buildings also more in Delhi. When you start thinking in this manner, What will I have? To whom will I give it on rent? How much rent should I charge? So many thoughts will come to you like that. So it is the mind that marks the beginning of this entanglement. The mind, the mind. So do not allow the mind to get involved in the external objects so far as your life's success and fulfillment are concerned. Sankalpayati tadgunan. Samyak sankalpanat kamaha. When you contemplate upon more and more the qualities, the beneficial nature, the usefulness of the objects or whatever you want to possess, then the mind grows desire. Desire is a very strong force. I illustrate it always with Janaki, Janaka's daughter, Rama's wife Sita. A golden deer came to her garden. What? A golden deer. Will it ever be? Can there be a golden deer? Gold is a metal and deer is a living being. Can the deer be golden? What do you mean by that? Now she started looking at the deer also started looking. Finally, Sita was fascinated by the deer. To such an extent, she said to Rama, I would like to have this deer alive. If you cannot bring it alive, at least bring its skin. We will spread it on our garden and sit together and chat. This is what Sita said. Can you imagine this Sita? What a great austere person was she. She said, I will leave the Ayodhya and follow you. I will walk on thorns and pebbles. It does not matter. But your association is what I want. With you in my presence, I am full. Without you, I am nothing. Now, in addition to Rama, she wanted a thoda soch lijiye na. In addition to Rama, she wanted to have, there are people who get married. After some time, they want to have a child. Why? If they are well married and happy, why should they have a child? So obviously the husband is not satisfied with the wife is not satisfied with the husband. So that looking each other is not complete. They want one more child. What for, I don't know. It is certainly at the cost of their mutual joyfulness. One more element. And then you find one more child, second child. So she wanted. Then Lakshmana interfered and said, this is not a golden deer. It is a witchcraft wrought by some asuras. So, my dear brother, don't run after it. Lakshmana wants. In spite of it, both of them decided that they must have it. Just imagine this desire, notorious in human life. The greatest havoc worker. Samyak sankalpanat kamaha, kamat pumsaha pravartanam. When the desire and greed, they start sprouting in the mind, all the activities follow that. See, in the matter of 15 minutes, Sita became a slave of Ravana. Only because of a wrong desire that she allowed to sprout in her mind. Therefore, we have to be very attentive to examine our mind and evaluate every time whether the mind's thoughts and fascinations are really true and honorable. What is it that you want? If you want to have a joyful life, joy is a creation of the mind. Make the mind joyous. Never seek an object for it. Objects will be there. You are born in a family. You will also perhaps rear a family. I have no objection. But your mind should not be overruled or victimized by any desire whatsoever. Vishaye swavishachedaha sankalpayati tadgunan samyak sankalpanat kamaha kamat pumsaha pravartanam. All the activities follow our karma. Our karma is a result of karma. That is what the present situation is. Now, instead of that, we must be able to live and move in this world without desire. Desire cannot be our motivation. Our motivation should be necessity. Whatever there is a need for, you try to fulfill it. That need can be an individual need, a family need, a societal need, a governmental need, a religious need, a philosophical need, a spiritual need. Whatever is the need, you fulfill it. I have no objection. But the desire should not be there associated with any action that you are performing. I am speaking to you, but I have no desire to speak to you. I can speak, and a set of people want me to speak. And there is also a setup and a facility arranged for it. Therefore, it is only a fulfillment of all these, a combination of all these factors and a fulfillment that you find in my speaking to you. Suppose you don't come here, then I will not speak. We are not brought to Delhi, then I will not speak. I know to speak. It is my subject. I like it. Therefore I speak. It is certainly good to me. I like. Just like I am sweating, I am also speaking. Eyes are seeing, ears are hearing, tongue is speaking. What is there unusual? Everybody speaks, I also speak. Other speech perhaps many people do not hear, but my speech perhaps several people hear. Is there any necessity for speaking? Then I will speak, not otherwise. Now in our ashram, so many people come and call me. Nowadays I say, please don't call me, I am not able to undertake journeys, so conduct the program without me. From the platforms also I say, don't call me anywhere, please don't call me, I will not come, spare me. This is what I tell people. So I don't think it is necessary to have a desire to do an action. A desireful action and a desire-free action, if you compare the two, you will find the desire-free action is far more effective and far more comprehensive, I can say. That is why we have got 4 ashramas, the sannyasa being the last. Only in the 4th ashrama sannyasa, are you hearing me? In the 4th ashrama sannyasa, the qualities of an individual become the best and most pronounced. In a family life, it will not. You will not be allowed to have a full expression. So in the sannyasa life, you will find a man's ability, a man's skill, a man's potential, they become the best and the most pronounced. Because there is no desire behind it. It's a desire-free life. Desire-free life. And that is why the mind and the intelligence express themselves best and in the most wholesome manner. Do you agree or disagree? So when are you going to become sannyasins then? Lakshyachutam chet yadi chittamishad Bihirmukham Sannipadet tadastadaha Pramadataha Prachyuta kelikandukaha Sopana pangtau Padito yatha tatha Vishayeshva vishacchetaha Sankalpayati tadgunan Samyak sankalpanat kamaha Kamahat pumsah pravartanam I don't know whether you have been able to get the essence of spirituality. Avidya kama bijam hi sarvam hi karma. Avidya kama bijam hi sarvam hi karma. Karma means action, activity. Sarvam karma means all activities. They are arising from avidya kama bijam hi. The seed of all activities is kama, desire. And this kama arises from avidya, ignorance and delusion. Will you accept this proposition? Every activity follows a desire. If you are able to be active without a desire, you are a mukta, a liberated person. The entire spiritual effort, the spiritual science is aiming at living in this world very joyfully, ecstatically, only by shedding desires. Our heart will work, our lungs will work, our digestive system will automatically go on, the brain will do its work, every organism, every organ will start continuing its work. You don't have to desire. Do you ever desire, I must be hungry, I must be hungry, I must be hungry? While you are having your food, do you say, my hunger should be appeased, hunger should be appeased? The food should be digested, blood should be generated. Do you ever desire so? If these activities which are basic and fundamental, on which all the other activities depend and rest, they go on irresistibly, governed by the laws of nature, what is there further for you to think about it? So be natural,